see here. I think I got that set. I got that set. I got that set. I think I'm all good. That should be going up. That's muted. That's... Shh. I think I'm getting going here. I've got a game. I've got a chat. Alright, I think I'm all good. So freaking annoying getting all this stuff set up. It's like you have to click 80 different things. That came on. Outstanding. Addle is idling in the channel. P Eater P is there. Snake Who Stands also. Or you, I guess you may still be idling in the channel. And I'm here, of course. That looks much better when I do that. That actually looks like I'm not sickly. So, I'm going to give it a couple minutes to spool up here. Let's see if there's anybody in the chat. Hello, is anyone in the chat? Is anyone in the chat? Question mark. Or are you all just idling on me? So there's that. That's totally the wrong mouse. That's that. We still have the beautiful Kerbal Space Academy set up behind us. I'm not even sure what else. Who else is streaming right now? Maybe I should look at that. Not that it matters. And I don't need to get anything going. There was a chat thingy, my bobber. Dude, Bobcan, what's going on? We are getting going here. That's interesting that it doesn't actually show anything. It's like my chat's busted or something. I can't see anybody in the chat. So I'm just asking if there's anybody in the chat. I honestly have no clue what's going on there. But welcome, Bobcan. The Twitch website is so freaking annoying. It's like half the time you don't even know if you're logged in, and then it mysteriously logs me out, and it doesn't tell me that, and then I try to edit something, and it doesn't say, hey, you're logged out, you can't edit it. It just like acts like it edited it, but then it doesn't actually edit it. Not a lot of fun. Anyways, like I said, dude, Dark Scar Games, also welcome back. Now it looks like it's coming online. Now it's actually giving me some information there. Dark Star Games, Bobcam, I can see all, I can see Adel, I can see Snake. I've got 5 there. Retired Army also, man, welcome back, Retired Army. People are coming in left and right. One of these days I'm actually going to get organized enough. I'm always like editing the stream at the last second. And I will actually start these. Het. I thought that was like some sort of, greeting that you use. Het. Het. Sut. One day I'll actually get organized enough that I'll start these 15 minutes in advance, and then I'll actually start the Kerbal Space Academy session at 8 o'clock. I'm like, every time I fire this up, I'm like ironing out more kinks. It seems like I have to open up like 100 different freaking windows just to get the stream going. So that's what we're dealing with here. Let me go ahead and open up a Kerbal Space Program actual window here, because nobody likes to see me, even though the background is really cool. What should we do? Getting to orbit we have, and no flights in progress. That looks like something we can do. Corn Chips, what's going on, Corn Chips? That was fun last night, hanging out with Slim, watching Slim completely fail to back up those trucks. I wanted to scream. I'm like pulling out my hair. I was like tossing and turning, watching him try to back up those trucks. I'm like, dude, it's so easy. Oh yeah, no way. I won't play music for an hour. It'll be me here. I'll be sitting at the computer. That's kind of BS when people just play some music and expect people to come see a live stream. If I'm live, I'm going to be here talking because I'm getting set up. And really, it's just the time for people to kind of get into the session before we start the actual session. Because, dude, Immortality, welcome in. No worries, man. You are welcome here for however much time you can spend here. I'm going to fix that camera, too. That's me looking at the camera. That's me looking at the chat. Gav, also, I saw you as soon as you came in. It looks a little bit annoying when I look down at the chat, but we are getting things going here. A bunch of regulars coming in, which is freaking awesome. Tonight I'm going to be doing a session. I have an Excel spreadsheet. I can't show it on the screen. I didn't set that up. I've got an Excel spreadsheet that shows me which sessions I've done, like which topics I've covered on which dates. And as much as I've talked about it, I've never actually talked about getting into orbit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple lifter designs to get payloads into orbit. I'm not exactly sure what the payloads are going to be. I'm not going to focus a lot on the payloads themselves. Really what I'm going to focus on is the lifters. so that we can actually get some of these different things into orbit. And I'm going to be going over Kerbal Engineer in depth, the numbers that I look at every time I build a lifter, the information that's important, what the numbers should say, how you know if you're going to go to space today or not. You might have seen me, if you're a regular, you've seen me a couple times launch rockets. A lot of times, barring weird effects, we get into space on the first try, and it's very predictable what's happened. Even though, yeah, Immortality, dude, I recognize your name, so you are totally counted as a regular. But a lot of times you'll see those rockets go into orbit seemingly on the first try. Space station with the big tail fin, the big drag thing on the top was definitely an exception to that. But it's all because we're looking at Kerbal Engineer. And we know what's going on because we can look at those numbers in Kerbal Engineer and we can predict the... You can send your ex-wife to test gross weights. In fact, Retired Army, I will name the payload after your ex-wife if that's what you want. Some of those tanks, I don't know, what do you think, 3 or 4 of those 14,000-pound tanks? You'll have to tell me what she weighs. But that's what she gets for treating you bad. I'll tell you what. Anyways, let me go ahead and get set up into here. I've been talking at the camera. And we need to actually launch some stuff. That screen would be KSP2, which looks like this. Much better, much better. It feels like my camera got turned or something, or I'm sitting... Again, I don't exactly have a studio. I am going to go into the VAB. That looks like a place that I would like to go build some rockets. Tonnage, yeah. Tell me in tons. Sorry, the finest measurements I have, I think, is in tons over here. What is this? Is this a career mode where I don't have all the... Well, that's lame. Well, this is not going to do. We are not going to build lifters in a stock career. Name the payload. The entire rocket, Immortality. I'll name the entire rocket. This is not going to work. I'm in a bad session here. I apparently was doing, this was my getting to space, which was also kickstarting a career. We want to have all the parts because we're going to build small rockets, we're going to build big rockets, we're going to blow things up. And I don't just want to be limited to the new career. So let's back on out of there. Window, I swear I have a little network monitor that always covers up. There we go. Half my stuff. Again, if you're just getting here, we're going to be doing lifter design and engineering and piloting and crashing using Kerbal Engineer. So let's do load save, I think. Nope, that's not right. Let's also not click on the VAB. That's also not what I want to do. Let us try to get to some place where we have all the parts. Also, I'm totally expecting a Chinese food delivery any minute here. Luckily, Chocolate, I think, is going to be able to get the door. Are you going to be able to get to the door, honey? Yes. All right. She totally put on pants so she could answer the door. So we need to quit the main menu, and we are going to... One of these days, I'm going to fix the edge of that green screen. Gosh almighty. She's going to get the Chinese food. I'm going to try and find KSA, interplanetary landers, another interplanetary space stations. One of these days, I'll clean this up. This is a mess. Start new anyways, make it a sandbox, use our handy dandy XBT flag there, and we will do... Also, I have the phone right here, honey. And we're going to call this Gav. I've put 3, well, on the pad it was over 3,000 tons. I'm not sure what the actual payload of that is. I could tell you if I went into my career save. In fact, I'll do that at the end. By the way, after this we are going to be doing some free play, and we're going to be finishing the construction of the orbital Hilton tonight. Oh, was that the door? Yeah. Sweet. Chinese food has arrived. So I will not starve to death. Let's see here. We are doing KSA lifter design. Design. That's not a good sign if I start by naming my lifter Die. Start sandbox mode. That's what we needed. She's so fat that she worldwide. Literally. Seriously, you can do better than that, Immortality. You can definitely do better than that. She's so fat that more boosters still won't get her to space. I don't know. We could. She has her own zip code. You'd have to. When you're around her, you have to use in-body physics to calculate safe routes. Seriously? Okay, now we're in a good save. We are going to go over to the place with the rocket designing. I may be totally eating during this stream because I am a little bit hungry. And we got 15 people in here right now. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. Zephos Linux? Or is it Ethos Linux because you got X's on either end? I don't know. Let's see. We got me. I'm apparently going to have to deal with the... Oh, Chocomole is here. That's excellent. Addle, you idler. You and your little bot that logs you in automatically. Bobcan, Corn Chips, Darkstar Games, Gav, Immortality, Led Joe, Retired Army, Snake Who Stands, Solo Asylum, and the guy with the X's in his name, and I'm not sure if it's Zepho Linux or if it's Efo Linux with X's on either end. I don't know. We have everything we need? Okay, yeah, go ahead and eat, honey. All right. So she's going to go ahead and eat. I'm going to go ahead and do a Kerbal Space Academy here. Like I said, 20 pounds of crack. Oh my gosh. Her high school photo was an aerial photo. Seriously? This is going to be KSA Lifter 1. Actually, let's call it, I like XKCD. It's going to be Upgoer 1. That's all it is. So, we're going to get started here with Kerbal Space Academy session on lifter design. So basically, you need to get something to space. You've already designed what it is you need to get to space. It may be a lander, which we've gone over. It may be a rover, which we've gone over. It may be an interplanetary ship, which we've gone over. It may be a science vessel that you're going to go to Minimus farm stuff. We've also done that. Yeah, wait, I'm not still on that, am I? I'm good now. Yeah, I was totally streaming from the astronaut centers, Luis. That's my new background. But whatever your payload is, you're trying to get it to orbit, we're going to talk about using Kerbal Engineer or Common Sense to get whatever that payload is to orbit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those payloads. We're just going to apparently use Retired Army's wife as the payload. He offered. I don't say nothing about it. He offered. So let's see here. Let's begin by defining a payload. And I'm going to start small. I'm going to get into big rockets. Hot diggity dog, that was loud. Wow, I'm going to have to cut back that follower notification a little bit because that just freaking... The Common Sense mod. You get the Common Sense mod by following enough Kerbal Space Academies. You watch enough Kerbal Space Academy, the Common Sense will slowly but surely be installed in your wetware, I think you could say. So, how's that? There we go. Dude, I still don't know how to pronounce your name. Guy with the X's is his name. Zephos Linux, I think. I don't know. Thanks for the follow, man. Welcome to the Academy. So, let's define this a little payload here. We need something. And like I said, I'm going to start small. In fact, we'll make a little bit of an actual payload that is, let's just say it's a little pod we're trying to get into space for the first time. We're going to keep it simple. We're not going to be doing exciting things. I will be finishing construction on the Orbital Hilton after this during the free play. So hang out for Academy. If you have a little bit more time, I'm going to finish up the robotic construction on the Orbital Hilton. And we got a couple other special things I'm going to do in free play afterwards. But let's just make us a little orbiter pod that's super simple here. We will make it something that you could actually accomplish something yourself. I'm just going to give him some deorbit fuel. I'm just going to give him a little bit of these engines. This is not going to be a complex thing. Do not look at this as the end-all be-all of things that we want to go into space. See, easy peasy. Little lander. Let's toss a chute on him. What's a chute look like? That's what a chute looks like. Then we'll also toss a one of these numbers, maybe a couple batteries, you know, some solar panels. Oh man, I really hate to cover up the logo. It's just an easy thing. We're going to be sending something useful to space. If you haven't gotten to orbit yet, you could complete a lot of your initial contracts using a little thing like this. It's just going to go into space, not even really put around space very much. It's going to get out of space safely. It can recover, I don't know, some science. Everybody likes to know what the temperature in space is. There you go. Cool. Good enough. Dude, brain fried, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We are getting started with a session on Kerbal Space Academy lifter design using Kerbal Engineer. So that is what we are doing. But anyways, welcome. You're new here, apparently. I don't know brain fried at all, I guarantee you. So there's a couple different versions of Kerbal Engineer. I'm still using the 0.6 Engineer. Cybertech, if you're here, please don't kill me. Please don't stab me in the face. In 0.6, in order to get the engineering interface, you actually had to take a part, which looked a lot like this, and you had to slap it on your lander, which looked a lot like this. Now I've got this little circuit board. I like it. I mean, that's cool. You also had the other part that was the flight computer unit. I think that thing looks freaking amazing. I'm not sure it would really withstand launch with the exposed tapes like that, or reentry. Whatever. Kerbal Space Program doesn't care. If you're running 1.0 of Kerbal Engineer, all these concepts are going to stay the same, right? The concept on delta V, the amount of delta V you've got to get into orbit, your thrust to weight, how the interface kind of works in terms of buttons you can click on, that sort of stuff. All of those things are going to stay the same. The real difference is the interface may be a little bit different, similar but different. And you won't need to put these parts on your ships. In my version, 0.6, you've got to put these parts on the ship. In the newest version that Cybertech has released, it's 1.0. You don't need to put the parts on. You just get it no matter what, which is really freaking cool. It saves you a part. And I do believe there's still the capability to put the parts on there if you want to use them. I love using this part just as decoration. It's got the animation. The lights light up and blink and bloop and that sort of stuff. But there will be some differences if you're on 1.0. I will go ahead and I'm going to get this updated to 1.0. I promised Cybertech I would. I need to make sure that my career save is saved and that sort of stuff. But you may see some differences if you're doing all these jokes keep going on. This is nobody's mom. This is just a little pilot thingy, probe, pod that could go to space. This is not retired Arby's mom. So anyways, let's have a look in Kerbal Engineer here. The payload on this sucker is 1651. Gosh, that's almost nothing. That's almost freaking nothing. Let's at least make it 2000 by slapping some more fuel on there. But again, your pod to get space, there you go, 2213. That's at least 2000. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to say I'm designing this puppy. Yeah, I know I could use one tank, whatever. We were just putting this thing together. I could go to space with this, I could gather science with this, I could complete my first orbit with this. It's all pretty straightforward. I'm totally trying not to read the chat because we got a bunch of payload examples, I think. Payload descriptors being tossed about. So anyways, we're just going to say that this is our payload. I just went over here and I looked. The mass of this craft is just over 2,000. I'm going to say I'm designing a lifter for 2,500 kilograms, 2.5 tons, and we will go from there. You've seen Kerbal Engineer. You've seen me go from compact to non-compact over and over again. A lot of times I leave it in the compact mode. For this, let's leave it in the compact mode because it's simpler, right? I just went non-compact so that I could see what the payload was. We're going to say that this payload's about 2,500. It's really 2,200, but this lifter could get 2,500 to orbit, and we will say that. So there's two parts to any lifter that you're doing. Wow, so many people are coming in. Before I get into the two parts of the lifter, let me go ahead and do a chat roll call because I totally appreciate everybody coming in for the Kerbal Space Academy. Lifter design, 1960s, Gav, that's why I love it. Icebox, dude, thanks for coming back. Keep the chat in hand for us. Looks like a radio from Dan. Looks like a radio. It looks like an old, when James Bond in like the old school movies, like the 60s and 70s movies, he's like got the shag carpet in his little like pod in the bottom of his submarine. This looks like what he plays tunes with to seduce the ladies. Something like this. Let's see what else. Dude, submitted denied is also back. Luis, I just totally went over that you don't need the CPU parts and that there would be some differences between KAR 1.0 and 0.6. Submitted denied. Dude, awesome Hitman. Awesome here. Wow, we just jumped from like freaking 15 to 30 people. That's so freaking cool. Kerbal Space Academy, we're doing lifter design. We're using Kerbal Engineer tonight. I do that almost every stream, but I'm going to be focusing on it tonight, going a little bit slower and fielding some questions on what I do. Also, Adam. Dude, Adam, get your science fair project done. Whatever you need to do, man. I'm going to be totally disappointed if you don't come up with a Kerbal Space Program inspired science fair project. Tell me what I can do to help you out, by the way. So, Kerbal Engineer. Welcome, everybody. Kerbal Space Academy. We are lifting a payload that weighs 2213. We're going to say that this lifter can get 25 to orbit. And that's kind of we're going to be designing it over the top. So, two parts to every lifter. The first part is the big bottom part. I call it the lifter stage. Keep it simple. It's basically the big rocket that gets you off the launch pad, gets you out of the soup, and gets you past that gravity turn, right? It's the big, there's lots of fuel, there's lots of motors, etc., etc. The second part I like to refer to as the kicker stage. You may hear other people refer to it as the orbital insertion stage. That's the part that once you're up out of the soup, you're out of the atmosphere, you started that gravity turn, its main focus is to push you the rest of the way into that orbital velocity so that you begin missing the planet. Remember, when you go into orbit, you're not falling, or you are falling, but you keep missing the planet because you're going around the planet so quickly that it drops away from you at the same rate that you fall towards it. That's the entire principle of being on orbit. So, we have two parts. We need a lifter at the very bottom, which is down here on the screen. There's nothing there. And we need a kicker. I'm going to start with my kicker stage because it's going to be attached to the payload here. So for the kicker, again, we're starting off with a small rocket. I'm going to build a freaking huge rocket after the small rocket to go over the concepts again. But with a small rocket, I need first a stack separator. If you're new to KSP, you may not know what the stack separators are. They are basically things that separate stacks. Basically, it blows one part of a rocket off another part of the rocket. You've got a part on the bottom. It's going... You're done with it. It's out of fuel. You don't want to keep carrying it with you. You toss a stack separator in there. It has explosive bolts on it or whatever that blows that used up part of the rocket off and starts up the new stage to go on and fly on its own. So that's the stack separator. There's a couple different sizes. You'll see that we're using them this evening. This is just a little middle-of-the-road stack separator. Let us build a kicker stage. The kicker stage is going to need some fuel, which is going to look a lot like this. Look how simple this is. And I want my kicker stage to have good thrust to weight. I want all my stages to have good thrust to weight. But I specifically want my kicker stage to have good thrust to weight. I am going to go ahead and put this LVT45 engine on there. That's 3.39 thrust to weight. Wow, that's a lot of thrust to weight. That's all we need in a kicker stage right there. It doesn't have to be any more complex than this to get my first orbit going, right? Don't worry, we're going to launch a lot bigger rockets than this. Let's see here. I am also going to, well, I'll come back to that. That's what a kicker stage looks like. Pretty simple. It doesn't have to be a lot. Look right here, 3.39 thrust to weight. That's way too much thrust to weight. We really want to be no less than 1.5. 1.7 is preferable. 2.0 is really good. But 3.39, gosh, that's really high. I'm going to leave it that way. Let us go over and look at the next stage, which is the lifter. The lifter stage is also going to need a stack separator. Here's my little stack decoupler. I'm going to toss it there. Notice it puts the fancy-dancy shroud around our rocket. And then I am going to grab one of these fuel tanks, thoop, like that. And let's put a big engine on the bottom of it. Again, we're keeping it simple for the first one. We are going to build bigger rockets than this. What is that? 1.69. Not too bad. Okay. 1.69. So another rule. I don't want this thrust to weight on my lifter. This is the lifter stage right here. We're keeping it so super simple for the first rocket here. This is my lifter stage. I don't want this number to go much below 1.7. That's the hard and fast rule. Write it down if you need to. Can you get to space if you have less than 1 point? Could you get to space on 1.1, 1.2, 1.3? Yes, but you'll need a whole heck of a lot more delta V to do it because you're going to be spending a lot of time fighting against gravity. Every second you spend fighting against gravity is a second of wasted fuel. So the entire balance is go fast enough that you get out of the gravity well and you start to do that gravity turn so you can start missing the planet by falling past it. Would this one go to space? Even though we've got 1.7 on the thrust to weight there and we've got 3.39 there, those are both good numbers. Would it go to space? Not so much. I wonder, should I make it less confusing? We're basically pretending that the top stage here has no delta V, right? Because I want to put this payload into orbit. If you look at this, I do believe we would be very, very close to getting this rocket into space if I used the payload and its engines to complete the orbital insertion. What does that mean? That means this stage here contains 1265 delta V with a 1.7 thrust to weight on the launch pad. That's good. It's 1.7. It's got some delta V to get us up out of the soup. This stage here, 3.39. That's also good. It's got another 1269 delta V. That's also good. So our total delta V for this, the lifter plus the kicker, is 2500. Is that enough to go to space? No. Remember, to get to space, you need about 4,500 meters per second of delta V. If you have mods like far or near installed, it may be less. If you are not a good rocket pilot or you don't have the thrust to weight set up here, it may be a lot more than that. If you get a really bad launch and you're having control problems, it can definitely be a lot more than that if you lose a lot of that delta V to steering. But adding in the top stage here, this 1474, that gives us a total of 4,000 delta V. That's right on the line of what we can do. But Das, you just said that you need 4,500 meters per second of delta V. That number is 4,000. The difference is 500. That's actually a pretty big difference. How could you get this to space? It's because, remember, as our rocket goes up out of the atmosphere, the engines are going to become more and more efficient. Remember the efficiency of the engine. When I look at my little engines here, where are they at? These guys right here. These engines have a 250, basically think of it in miles a gallon. It doesn't really work that way. The basic concept is higher numbers are better. I would rather get 300 miles to the gallon than 250 miles to the gallon. That's not how it equates. That's not how the math works. But just remember, higher numbers are better. This one, when it's in vacuum, it gets 300 efficiency, miles per gallon, whatever. And it gets 250 efficiency whenever it's in the atmosphere. That's what ASL stands for. So when this engine lights, we are going to be out of the atmosphere. So instead of getting the atmospheric efficiency, which is 250, we're going to get the vacuum efficiency, which is 300. How can we look at that in Engineer? Open up your Engineer here to the full mode. Click on atmospheric stats. You see how it's not selected now? It's not highlighted. That means that we are in non-atmospheric mode. So check this out. This little top stage is going to have 1769 delta V when it's not in atmosphere. Click on atmosphere. See how it changes. In atmosphere, it's going to be getting 1474. That's a difference of 300 right there. So we were at 4,000. We're actually at 4,300 just because this engine's not going to turn on while it's in the atmosphere. It'll be out of the atmosphere. A lot of people, you'll hear some people say that you don't even have to worry about this, just over-design it a little bit or not put it on atmospheric stats. When you get more experience, you can totally do that. You don't have to put atmospheric stats on here. You could just put, you could just run it in atmospheric mode and then design in your head. I like to switch it back and forth just to say, I know that if I'm in atmosphere and this total number right here is around 4,000 meters per second, that's good. That's about what I need to get to space because I follow the standard launch profile, right? It is definitely a sandbox. I just missed that there. I will get caught up with the chat in just a second, by the way, guys. Atmospheric mode. Let's see if we can't make this a little bit better, because here's what's happening, right? We've got a rocket that weighs a total of 12,000 kilograms here, 12 tons, I think. I don't know, maybe that's 12 tons. 12,000 kilograms, right? With 1.69, we don't want that to be less. So let's see what happens when we play with this rocket. Again, that's why this rocket is so simple. Let's say that I came down here, and on this engine, I just added more fuel. Like this tank. Not too much fuel. I'm just adding a little bit more fuel. How could that hurt anything? That took us to 4,240 total delta V, because instead of 1496, we got, instead of 1265, we got 1496, about 240, 250 more delta V there, right? So yes, I added that, but look at my thrust to weight, 1.55. That's not so great. I really want that to be near 1.7 so that I get a good solid liftoff, right? Could I get it to space like this? I may be able to. I could totally give it a try. But what I was trying to do was increase the delta V in the lifter portion of the rocket. What else could I do? Let's see here. Instead of adding this tank down here, what if I moved some fuel? So I've got this tank up here. It's part of the kicker stage right now. That kicker stage has freaking ridiculous thrust to weight. What if I take some of the fuel out of here, like this? Let me just get the smaller tank. So see how that tank is smaller than the one I had in the kicker? Let's put that smaller tank there. Let's put this here. And without changing the total weight of the rocket, what would that give me? That would give me one of these tanks. See how I'm just kind of, this tank plus this tank equals that tank? That's all I'm doing. I took some fuel out of this tank and I'm adding it down here. Let's see how that affects our rocket. We're still 1.77 on the pad, which is good. That probably means that we have a little bit less fuel, because check out our delta V. Now our delta V is 3751, right? Let's try to add some more fuel down here. Let's get instead of that tank, I'm going to put a little bit more fuel. That's 1.69. Okay, that's where we were. Now we have 3873 with 1.69 thrust to weight. All right, what else could I do? This thrust to weight, this 4.17, is really high. That means that this kicker stage is way too powerful, right? So that means I could use a lighter engine here. Let us see. Instead of that engine, which has a lot more thrust than we need, what could we use? It's got 200 thrust. This little LV909 has 50 thrust. That engine weighs 1.5, so we would save a ton, but we would lose 150 thrust. Let's give it a try. Let's put that on there. 1.31, I'd like it to be higher. Let's see how it turns out. Wow. Okay. So, putting that smaller engine on there increased our delta V by quite a bit. That gave us like 200 delta V, didn't it? Let's see if we do that, and we do that, and we do that, and we do that. 3873. Wow, that gave us a lot more delta V. Let's give it a try. Let's put that guy there. Let's put that there. And let's see how this looks. I am in atmosphere. Good. Now I'm up to 4237. I could totally put that into space using that payload. And check this out, 1.84, right? 1.84 thrust weight. That means that I could put more fuel down here in this stage. So let me go over here. Let me grab this smallest fuel tank and put it there. And let's see here. Remember, I'm shooting for 1.7. That's 1.75. We're up to 4360 delta V. That's not bad. Huh. Let's see here. If I add a little bit more, is it going to 1.67? I could totally launch it with that. That's close enough. In fact, could I just do it with one tank? That looks like more fuel, but let's just see. 1.67, 1.67. Apparently, that tank carries as much fuel as those 4 tanks, even though, I don't know, there may be some sort of physics shenanigans or something happening. There may be something about the mass of the tanks isn't quite on. So I've got 1.67 with on the launch pad, thrust to weight. I want that to be 1.7. That looks good. I've got 1.31. That feels a little bit low for that LV909. For the kicker stage, we'll give it a try. We'll see how this rocket goes. Use separatrons. Use separatrons. I've got 1.67. That's what I want. 1.31. It's a little bit low. I'm going to do it on purpose so I can show you what happens when that number is a little bit low. And I've got 1.84. My total delta V, 4477. People say you need 4,500. Y'all are making me laugh over there in the chat. To orbit using only separatrons. I've tried it. I got up to like 600,000 or 600 parts, and it started to choke on the physics. You need 4,500. This says that we've got 4,477. That's pretty close to 4,500. Let us see if this rocket here gets into orbit using all the stages. So again, we've got the lifter stage, we've got the kicker stage, and we've got the payload, which is also going to use some of its fuel. It's the dry mass of the tank. Luis, I think you're right there, man. You are a mod in my channel. Yeah, you're a mod. You always help me out. I definitely appreciate you helping me out with some of the answers there. What else can we do? Let's toss some of these little thingies on here like this. You know, a little thingy. That looks good. Let's fix the staging. Again, with the staging, this rocket's going to fire. I like it. Again, you can hover over the rocket so you can see where it is in the stage, plus vice versa. If I touch the part, it highlights down here. If I highlight down here, it highlights the part green. You can see the difference kind of going on and off there. Same thing there. See it highlighting over there. So when that rocket ignites, I also want the launch clamps to go. That's good. Then when we decouple that, I want that engine to turn on. And just see, look at number 2 over there. I can point at the decoupler. That's good. When that blows, I also want this engine to turn on. That's good. That's what I want. And then when this decoupler blows, that's good. I want those 2 engines to turn on. That's not quite right. Let me click that. Let me drag it down there. Now I think we're good. This in the launch clamps. That in the poodle. Well, no, that's not the poodle. The 909, which may not get us there. And then this guy in that. Let's launch this rocket. I've been running my mouth too much. Let's go ahead and see. We think we're good. Again, 1.7. I like that. 1.3, a little too low. 1.8, that's okay. Total delta V here, 4477. We need 4,500. That looks good. So while we do a scene change here, I am going to drink delicious... Oh no. Dr. Pepper. Can I get some delicious Dr. Pepper? While the scene loads, I'm going to have my lovely assistant give me some delicious Dr. Pepper and get caught up with the chat here. Let's see what we got here. Man, what did I miss? Hey, he's back. All right, that's where I was. Adam, that's where I was talking. There were our payload jokes. I have so many more viewers. Dude, Adam, the other night we had 72 viewers at the high. That was so freaking cool. Thank you, honey. My Dr. Pepper assistant has brought me some delicious Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Adam, dude, we had 72 viewers the other night. It was so freaking cool. Awesome Hitman is also here, which I appreciate. It does look nice. I agree, Luis. My X is 2213. I don't even understand what that means, Brain Fried. Dan, I focus on Kerbal Space Program right now. I may play around with some other stuff, but I am doing that. One small tank and a rapier. I know you could, Luis. We're trying to keep this simple here, not show off. If you want to show off constantly, you can have a new channel that is Luis Pelioto Constantly Shows Off. Here's more of this stuff. 18-wheelers. Dude, Happy Killer, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Career mode, Hitman. This is not career mode. We're just doing it sandbox because we're using Kerbal Engineer and we're getting the rocket to space. Using Carrier, Handman, I think you're good to go. Kerbal Engineer 1.000, whatever their version is. I haven't updated just because it would break one of my saves, and I haven't had the time to go through and make the save doesn't break. And we definitely... Wait, what? Somebody wants to see your hand. That's a... an orbital pickle, apparently. No, it's definitely getting on the camera, trust me. You won't see it down there, but you'll see it over there. Thank you, Chocomole. What was I talking about? Differences in Kerbal Engineer. I just haven't upgraded to 1.0 because it would break some of my saves, and I haven't had time to go through and make the saves, do the editing to the files I would need to make sure they wouldn't break. More data feedback, updates DV code, okay. Brain fried, I just wing this every night. I mean, I've sent lots of rockets to space, so I have I have some experience doing it, but I don't script out. I don't say, okay, step one. I don't have like a cheat sheet over here that says, now you need to talk about this. I make it up as I go, and I do that because I want people in the chat to ask me questions. The entire point of this is that I'm here live. I'm talking to you across the interwebs. I'm flying rockets, and if you have a question about something I do, you can paste it over in the chat, and I will answer it. That's the entire point of Kerbal Space Academy. There's lots of good videos on YouTube. You can watch these videos on YouTube. You can probably get to space watching the videos on YouTube. What you can't do on YouTube is ask questions. So I'll remind everybody again, if you're regulars, you know this. If you're new, this is Kerbal Space Academy. The entire premise of it is you can ask me questions. So if you have a question, I don't bite. I will look at the camera. I will answer you. I may not be immediately. I need some breaks to do it like we're doing right now. But that's the entire point. Ask me questions. Excellent question, brain fried. Try to mess with the tank. Okay, CNC Master, welcome. Immortality. Go, go, go. Missions from... Hey, what's up, Sarion? How's it going? Thanks for joining us for... Kerbal's so unprofessional. The pickle floating around. Definitely. Let me make sure I got everything else here. Immortality. Funny you should say that. I actually mix Coke and Dr. Pepper. And the name of that mixture is Coctor Pepper. I think that Coke is a little bit too acidic and Dr. Pepper is a little bit too sweet sometimes, so putting them together, Coctor Pepper is freaking delicious. Traxxas Lover, welcome. Lignoba, welcome. Question, launch clamps at max height. That's a good question, actually. The question was if I was in the VAB and I grabbed the pod here and I made the rocket as tall as freaking possible, like all the way up to the top of the VAB, would it help? Yes. You would be launching from a little bit higher. You would be a little bit less out of the atmosphere, and you would lean a little bit less delta V. Would you notice the difference between the bottom and the top? Probably not. But technically, you would use a little bit less delta V, and you would be a little bit more efficient when you launched. If you were to put the launch clamps at max height, that's a good question there, Gav. Let's see here. Causing a disturbance in the green screen. Override, dude. Welcome. I hadn't caught you earlier. Went to minutes. Oh, didn't have the lab. That lab is OP as heck, man. That lab is so OP just because you take one freaking little science pod, you take one goo pod, you fly it back and forth, and you can keep farming that science like that. You can get so much science. Lift like 100 tons. 100 tons? I think we can beat that, CNC Master. We'll see. Just show me. She'll show it. Fix the green screen. Yeah, my green screen is behaving a lot better. I got some totally fly Walmart lamps over there. Link Strife. Welcome, Link Strife. Hadn't caught you yet. Science farming video. Mr. Handman, the science farming video is uploaded to YouTube under the same name, K-Space Academy. I don't have a link to it yet. Shucks. I need to get a link to that set up. Let's see what else we got. Make sure I got all the questions here. Kerbal Engineer. Over 9,000. I don't know if I can do over 9,000, Peter. Let's see what we can do here. Here's old Jeb. He's in the rocket. I think I got caught up on the questions. I don't know, Gav. Maybe we can get 500 tons to orbit. We'll have to have a look. Let us launch this rocket. Again, we're sitting at 1.67 on the launch pad. That's good. We have a total of 4492 delta V. That's also good. Let us see if this thing will go to space. Panel lock. SAS engage. I press the T key. Throttle up. We are good to go. 3, 2, 1, space. So watch what's happening here, right? we've taken off our rocket. We set our staging up correctly. This engine's going to burn for another minute and 27 seconds. You can see it right here in Engineer. That's useful sometimes, especially when you're doing maneuvers. And we're going to get about 2,000 delta V out of it. So we're going to go for the standard launch profile. The standard launch profile, it's not the most efficient profile. It's the easy to remember profile. You can definitely do launches that are more efficient than this. This is the easiest thing for new players to remember. That's why I do it over and over and over again. Plus, I'm not out to try and impress anybody with the exact amount of delta V that I used getting into space. I just want to get to space, so this is the launch profile I follow in just about every single launch I do. First checkpoint is 5,000 meters, which we can see right here, and we'll want to be going about 150, 160 meters per second. I'm not even going to look down. As soon as this gets to 5,000, then I'm going to look down. 162 is the number I saw. That's good. How did I know that was going to be? Because I was 1.7 on the launch pad. Next checkpoint, I have to talk fast here because we are going 200 meters per second. The next checkpoint is going to be an altitude of 10,000 meters, and we're going to be wanting to go about 250, 260. I think it's actually like 263 or something. But I'm going to watch this, and when it gets to 10,000, I'm going to look down. 10, 270, so I was going a little bit fast. Then I start my turn. All I do for my turn, you can see I'm just tapping the D key. Just tap it in. I'm tapping the D key, and I'm leaning over to where it says 90 on the nav ball. That means we're pointing at a 45-degree angle relative to the horizon. You can kind of see here. Here's the horizon, right? This is space. This is the ground. This would be 0 degrees. This would be 90 degrees. Check that out. We're at 45 degrees. That's our lifter stage. Let's go ahead and hit the kicker stage. So I'm at a 45-degree angle, and I maintain the 45-degree angle until this number right here, the apoapsis, says 50,000. So I'm just going to keep burning like this until that apoapsis says 50,000. Could I do it more efficiently? Yes, I could do this more efficiently. This is easy to remember. 5,000, 150. 10,000, 260. 45 degrees, 50,000 apoaps, turn and burn. 5 steps to orbit. You can totally write that down or just play this back. Play it back in your sleep if you want to. You'll remember it. So there's 50,000, and at 50,000 I'm going to turn and burn, which basically means point towards my orbit. When I'm pointing towards my orbit, that means that I'm putting a lot more velocity into missing the planet and not as much velocity into increasing my height. So again, the angle that I'm going at when I'm going straight up 90 degrees, that means that I am putting all of my energy into increasing my height with none of my energy into falling around the planet. When I'm at 45 degrees, I'm putting half of my energy into height and half of my energy into orbital velocity. And when I go completely flat, that means I'm putting all of my energy into orbital velocity and no more energy really into height. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to burn just like this, following the orbit. There, let's kick that stage off until this number here says 80. That's 80 right there. Now we're going to plan the circularization burn. Here we go. We're just going to come here. We're going to click on the apoaps. We're going to do add that. I'm going to pull it prograde until we get a periaps. Click on it to make it stick. Back to the node, and let's make that 80. There's 50. Put me on my apo, please. There we go. 75, and watch for the flip. 79, 888. That's 80. So see, you can hear 83.9, 82.95. Good enough. That's an orbit. What else can we see, right? We know this burn is going to take us 49 seconds, so call it 50 seconds. We bracket our burns. We want to half the burn before the node and half the burn after the node. I'll explain that more in detail if anybody wants me to. That means we're going to need to start burning this at half of 50 seconds, which is 25 seconds. I will start burning when this says T minus sold pineapple. Welcome to the Academy. I'm going to start burning this whenever it says negative 25, T minus 25, and we will see what we get here. 27, 26, 25. Here's another trick we can use in Kerbal Engineer. Right here, I can see that I need to do, that was about 900, I think, whenever I burned it. What I can do is I can add up my orbital velocity and my remaining delta V, and I need those numbers to get close to 2300. Wow, I can't pronounce that one. I'm from South Texas. I do not know what that name is. Tifun Hundel, something like that, man. Welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow. What I'm doing, when this number here gets to about 2300, that means that I'm going to be about in orbit. I know that because I'm at 80,000 feet. I'm trying to burn just about flat on the horizon here, and I am going to try to make that say 20, like that. I am War Child also. Welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow. We do these Kerbal Space Academy sessions every night. Games of the Realm. Who came in and told people to subscribe to me? Somebody told people to subscribe to me. I'm totally freaking missing out here. Oh my gosh. Everybody that just followed, thanks for the follows. If somebody said it in chat, I'm going to thank whoever said that. But that was definitely a follower chain there. I think we're in orbit. Are we in orbit? Yeah, we're totally in orbit. So what I was saying was I can add my remaining delta V, and it needs to get pretty close to 2300. A lot of times in bigger rockets, I can just look at my remaining delta V in the stage, look at my current orbital velocity, and if the current orbital velocity plus the remaining delta V is not 2300, I know that rocket's not going to make it to orbit. That's just something to think about as you're going. So here we are in orbit. I think I'm pretty circular. 80, 75. Oh, look at that. We're coming up on the apoapse here. Let me just go ahead and circularize it here by burning straight prograde. Nope. I just totally screwed that up. Me. Whatever. This session isn't about circularizing orbits. This session is about getting to orbit. So what did we have, right? Remember, on the launch pad, this rocket was sitting at like, what, 4497, just under 4500. And everybody says, oh, you need 4500 delta V to get to orbit. Well, what the heck? I have 750-ish delta V left over, 737 left over. I thought I had 4500 on the launch pad. What happened? Where did this magical delta V come from? I guarantee you that the delta V fairy did not come and tap freaking pixie dust on our rocket. That has nothing to do with why we have delta V. What happened was what I was explaining. As our rocket went up out of the atmosphere, the fuel in the upper stages became more and more efficient. It's the same fuel. It didn't chemically change or anything like that. What happened was we got it out of the atmosphere before we lit its engines. Remember, when you look at the engine, it has two efficiencies. It's got an in-atmosphere efficiency and it's got a vacuum efficiency. We used this fuel when we were in vacuum, when we were out of the atmosphere. Or not quite as deep in the atmosphere as we was. So just the fact of lifting that fuel up out of the atmosphere gained us 737 meters per second of delta V on top of what engineers showed us in the pad. That means that if we had a lot less delta V than 4500 in the VAB, we could have still gotten to space because those upper stages, they take off. As they get higher, that fuel is more efficient, and even though that number didn't say 4500, we still were able to get to space. This one has some miles per gallon left over, right? We still have the 737 because of that effect of getting up out of the atmosphere. So, do we strand Jeb in orbit? I really don't want to take the time to deorbit him. Let's just do this and then go IVA because everybody loves that. This way, Jeb can have some excitement as he spins around in his not quite straight orbit. What we're going to do, we'll leave Jeb up here. This was just a little pod. We're going to go back down. We're going to build a bigger rocket. So this rocket, not so big. Not the biggest rocket I've ever seen, that's for sure. It is a rocket that could accomplish a lot of things. Get you into orbit, get you science, get you EVA reports. We could have put some more science experiments on here and got it done. But this was just a start. Let's get on back to the VAB, leaving Jeb in orbit, and if we have time at the end, we'll go ahead and deorbit Jeb. Let's go back to the Space Center, leaving Jeb in orbit, and we will build another bigger, better rocket. Let's have a look here. See if I got anything in the chat while we do this number and drink. Peter P., thanks for the link to the YouTube channel there. I'm getting that channel cleaned up. I'm going to have to figure out, I've never done YouTube before. I'm going to have to figure out how to make those videos. I've got them set up in playlist right now. So if you start on this first video in the playlist for like Moon Landing 201 or whatever, it'll play all the videos sequentially for you. I don't know if there's a better way that I can do it, so I'm definitely working on it. Let's see what else I missed. Zogs! Had better things to do yesterday. Took the weekend off because Chocomoli's here and we were hanging out yesterday instead of streaming. I don't even actually remember. What did we do yesterday? We didn't stream. Let's put it that way. 3, 2, 1 space. Yes, don't have any mods. Okay, there's that stuff. Get Kerbal Engineer. I think Sarian, you answered that for you there. Thanks for helping me out. Hitman, download the mod. Okay, good. Did I miss anything else? K-Space Academy. Yeah, I think Peter there got you, Bob, a link to the K-Space Academy YouTube channel. I think that's right there. Poodle Engine, OP in space. it's better now that they rebalanced it, Immortality. It used to be terrible and nobody used it, but they gave it a little bit of a weight. Put it on a diet, I guess. 75. Yes, congratulations, Luis. The atmosphere ends at 70. We know. What's up, Warchild? Welcome back. Sold Pineapple was a follow I called out there. It's like 69.8 or something. I'm still reading the chat. Brain Fried. Oh. Why is that not working? Let me fix that for you right quick, Brain Fried. I've got the bot that's supposed to be, here's Nightbot, running. Nightbot needs to join the channel, though. I don't know why it never joins the channel. Join. Join. That's great. Then I've got to mod it. Such annoyance. So bad. We're about to build a bigger rocket here. Here's the timers. Those are running. Nightbot should come into the channel and start annoying us. Brain Fried, to answer your question, there should be links to the Twitter feed, or the Twitters, whatever it's called. Vanilla. No, Pineapple. They didn't take a bunch of stuff out. You may have seen some other people playing with a bunch of part packs or mods or something like that. But out of the gate, wing pods, not there anymore. Wing pods and stuff like that were definitely part of mods that you had installed, I believe. There's never really been a wing pod that I would term it in stock. Let's see here. Lurk. All right, no worries, Corn Chips. Thanks for the lurk. Sold. All right, Sarian's got you back there. This is career mode. I am in... Well, no, this is not career mode. This is sandbox mode. There's Nightbot. Bob with the Chocomole birthday with happy birthday, honey. Have to unlock. Yeah, y'all got that there. Traxxas Lover. It was the first thing I got. I mean, it's good enough for me. Saturn V. Dang. Tweet. Yes, the tweet things. Oh, yes, here. And let me get this set up. I need to go ahead and do... We're about to build a bigger rocket here. While I fix a couple things. Mod. Nightbot. That looks good. And then we can do things like this. Follow. Nightbot should tell you the link to Twitter. Excellent. So if you follow K-Space Academy on Twitter, I will notify you before I go live, as long as, I guess, as well as what the session tonight will be. So I did put out a tweet a little bit before we did it, and I'll say what it is. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's cool. That's my current notification means. Also, before I go on to the next bigger rocket, I've got a survey here that looks a little bit like this. If you've already taken the survey, I appreciate it. I put this out every night. If you're new, if you've just found the channel or something like that, I'd really appreciate it if you take the survey. It asks what sort of things you're interested in, what sort of curriculum, I guess is really the wrong term, but what sort of topics do you want me to cover? So if you take the survey, you can tell me what you want to see, and I will prepare sessions based on that. And then if you follow me on Twitter, I'll tweet to you and tell you when I'm going to do those sessions that you recommended via the survey. So it's a win-win situation. Let us go back to building a rocket. This is the Upgoer 1. Save. We're going to build another bigger rocket and see what we can get to orbit. We're going to make this one a bigger rocket. Let's see here. I don't know. These parts are pretty massful. In fact, they weigh 82 tons each. So one of those would weigh 82 tons. What do y'all want me to shoot for? 100 tons? 4 of these? What is 4 of these? Let me see if I can't, let's toss a probe. Go away. Let's just slap a little probe core on there like that. Excellent. That looks good. I am going to put some sort of core in the middle. I don't know, maybe an orange tank. Yeah, that looks good. Y'all said to build it bigger. Let's see how much payload, and I don't want to shoot too high here. We'll work our way up to the total thing. How much payload would this be? Let me grab my engineer part. Let me slap it on here. I'll just put it straight on top of the probe core. Like that. And there we go. Show all stages. 364 tons. Me. It's actually pretty heavy. Maybe we should just go for 80 tons out of the gate. Or 100 tons. 120 tons. Dude, if you need 120 tons to get to the moon, you need to watch the moon landing video. The moon landing Kerbal Space Academy. You should be able to get there a whole heck of a lot than that 120. Let's see here. Spaceman Spiff, good evening. I shall make me fail. You want to see mass destruction? We can definitely do that. Bob can, thanks for the follow. I shall make you fail. Also, thanks for the follow. Gamers of the Realm, or Games of the Realm. I think I missed you. So if I missed you, I apologize. 100 tons without touching the fuel in it. Sold. That's what we'll do. This guy here, that's 36 tons. No bueno. let's put this guy here. How big is that? 82 tons. So we need to add, what, 18 tons without touching it. We'll just put straight up fuel tanks. Just fuel tanks. Oh, just a probe core and a mainsail. How much does this guy weigh? We need 16 tons. That's 6.5. That actually will just make a flying fuel tank. That comes in at 88.5. What else could we do here? Here, we are just going to make this puppy a flying fuel tank, because that's awesome. What is that? 88.7. Wow, that part weighs nothing. You go away. You, yes, I like it. Hey, there we go. That's our root node. I don't know what that is, but there's that. There's that. Check it out. Actually, it's going to be a fueler rocket. Just be a fueler rocket. And we need a probe core. We will slap that on there. Again, I am trying not to spend a lot of times on what I'm building. I'm trying to spend all my time on the actual session, which is building the lifter to get this stuff into orbit. So I am kind of running through this. Let's slap old Kerbal Engineer on there again. There's that. Wrong. Wrong. Name the reference. Oh, it's a pretty sweet Earth. Give me that part. Put it on there. Where are we at? 89. We need another 1,100 or 11,000 pounds. What weighs 11,000? One of these guys? 20. Drat. Too much. Actually, here, check this out. We're just going to do less fuel in it, and we will just use the fuel to tune the exact weight of this payload. Oh, I'm supposed to pay the payload. Retired military. Retired army. I need to name the payload. I should just probably put retired Armies X. Let's see here. I'm just going to drag the fuel down. Drag the fuel down. That's 105. Drag the fuel down. Drag the fuel down. That's 104. Drag it down. There's 105 right there. I don't think I can get a lot more. Yeah. So that's 100,000 pounds. 100,000 kilograms. Sorry. Right there. And this is a super simple fueler rocket. Check it out. It could totally go to space. It could attempt to dock with something. It doesn't have... you know, you'd need to do some center of mass sort of dealios. That's odd. The center of mass didn't show. Oh, the center of thrust. Center of mass. We'll type some of these thingies, you know, like this. Little wingy-dink thingies. There we go. Good enough. This fueler rocket could carry, what is it called? 6480 plus that into space, and our goal is going to be to Kerbal orbit without putting, or without using any of this thing's fuel. Let us see what we can do. So let's just go ahead and move this guy up. Remember, step one, kicker stage. We need the kicker stage. We need the kicker stage to have about 1,000 delta V, if not 1,500. And we need the kicker stage to have greater than 1.7 thrust to weight. 1.5 really, but don't tell anybody. Let's grab the separator. Thoop, like that. Let's grab some of these things. Thoop. Let us put one of these engines on it. Thoop. 776 with a 1.7. Not too bueno, mister. I wonder if we could use 2 of those in the kicker stage. That would be an interesting kicker stage. Should I do it? Let's keep it simple, DOS. Keep it simple. That's not a terrible kicker stage. That's also not a great kicker stage. What if we put some moss in? What's our thrust to weight on that? 1.5 with 1,000 delta V. All right. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say if you ask to be a mod, you can't be a mod. I'm going to, that's going to, that is actually going to get us pretty close. 1.5, 60 seconds burn. I think that's okay. Traxxas, in all seriousness, I only choose about 1 mod a week, and I've got my mods for this week. So I do appreciate the enthusiasm. I don't want to like put you out in the cold or anything like that, but I'm good with the mods for this week. If you're regular, you hang out all the time, you help in chat when I ask for links and that sort of stuff. That's what I look for in my mods. So, money sucker, call it the money sucker. Money sucker. Done deal, retired. Okay, this looks good for a kicker stage. 1,000 delta V and 1.5 thrust to weight. Not too shabby. Now we build our lifter stage. Lifter stage, again, needs to basically have 3,500 delta V. We'll have to see if we can do that. And it needs to have 1.7 on the pads. So what can we do to put 3,500 delta V in this lifter. I know for a fact I am not going to get it done like this. Using this thing, the thrust to weight is just not going to be there. That's 1.08. I'm not going to get by with just one of those puppies. I'm going to need more. And I need this number right here. In fact, check this out. Here's a trick you can use. We want the payload to get to orbit without using any of the payload's fuel. Check it out. Don't forget to fix this. But right-click on the engine. That's in the payload. Remember, this was our payload. This was our payload, and we wanted to get this into a stable orbit, right? Let us do that. Right-click on the engine. Thrust limit that puppy all the way down, and look at what happens. Kerbal Engineer is updating in real time as I do that. When I set that thrust limiter down to 0, it says, hey, ain't no delta V in that top stage. It will actually compute. It'll take that stage off and not show you any delta V for that rocket because that engine is thrust limited all the way down to 0 thrust. So we can just watch for this number now, and we want to make that number equal to about 41, I'd say. Actually, 42, 43 we'll shoot for. So we continue to build this rocket. We are not going to get by with just one of these. That 1.08, that ain't going to get us off the launch pad. What do we do when we need to solve practical problems? Use thrust. If that doesn't work, use more thrust. Name that reference. Let me build a core here. I'm just kind of playing. That's pretty cool, I guess. Maybe 2 of these tanks be a core. Nah, let's do it like this. That guy, some of this number, a little wingledy dingy thingies. That looks good. I'm going to slap an old mainsail on there. Just building a core. You'll see what I'm doing. That's definitely not going to do it. 944 delta V with 0.62 on the launch pad. You wouldn't even take off. You would just fall backwards and crash. Let us grab this guy, and here's what I was actually doing. Let's try with 2 of these guys. There's 2. Put it like that. What is that? 1.57 on the pad. Total of 3546 delta V. We're getting there. We're getting there. I tell you what. Alright, that's annoying. This is one of those parts that has a weird clipping. Or a clipping mesh. Occlusion mesh. That's the way I wanted to turn it, but I need to do double symmetry. So we'll go like that. We'll turn it to double symmetry. There we are. 1.57 on the pad with 2485. Alright, I don't like that. Instead of the mainsail, let's try this part. Let's just toss that part on there. Alright, still 0.83, 855. Not going to happen. Let's add these 2 guys. Yes, that looks kind of cool. 1.67 on the pad. That's a little bit better, but I'm going to need to add more engines. Yeah, I got the LFO booster there, Luis. I'm totally going in a little bit weird configuration here. Let's try, I don't know, 3 of these things and see how that works. There we go. What is that? 183. Wow, that actually gets us really freaking close. That gets us really close. Because remember my numbers. I wanted this number here to be just above 4,000, and it's at 39. And we've got 183 on the pad. What does that mean? That's more thrust to weight than we need. We can actually get by with, what did I say? 1.7. So that means I can add more fuel to this until this number lowers down to 1.7. Let's see here. Let's go like this. Let's just try to add these things. 1.76. That means we can get by with more. Let's add these bigger tanks. 1.69 on the pad with 4095 thrust. That is not too shabby right there, ladies and gentlemen. So I know this rocket doesn't look too terribly interesting. I mean, we do have those big old rocket parts doing their thing down there. That symmetry is fan-freaking terrible, DOS. Let's see if I can't fix it. There we go. Now we know what the dorsal side is. Y'all know me and my dorsal side. And now I can also build some Strutty McStruttersons here. Like this. Could I make it different? Actually, I will make it different a little bit if y'all want me to. That's that. We could probably make it look a little bit cooler. No, we couldn't because that would clip. That's fine. That's fine. That's a good rocket. So again, what was I looking for? I was looking for some combination of rockets where this number right here, pretty darn close to 1.7. 1.69, that's fine with me. I wanted a total delta V of about 4,000, 4,100. That's good. So 4,000 delta V total. And my thrust weight on my kicker stage. Remember the 2 parts of the rocket? We have the lifter, which looks like that. Wrong, I grabbed the wrong part. We have the lifter, which looks like that. We have the kicker, which looks like that. And we have the payload. So here's the lifter, over on this side. Here's the kicker, over on this side. Here's the payload, which has its engine disabled because we want this thing to be delivered whole. Remember what they do. Lights. I'll totally put lights on it. Remember what the stages do. The kicker, the purpose of the kicker is to get you orbital velocity, get you going fast enough that you can start missing the planet. It is to, basically when you do that turn and burn, you start aiming right at the horizon. You want to get going faster and faster and faster so that you miss the planet. The lifter, this part right here, the first stage that goes, that's to get you up out of the soup, out of the atmosphere. It usually has a crap ton of thrust, and ours definitely does that. I'm just going to put some struts here. Call it superstition. And we can put some struts here. Like that. Yes, bueno. Good enough. 3x symmetry on the struts. Let us see. This is actually going to be pretty close getting to space. That's not a very good margin. That number is going to go up because we're getting up out of the atmosphere. This number is a little low. I'd rather it was rather at 1.7. But let's see if we can get this to space, and if we can't, let's come back and tweak it. Payload, yes. This actually, we're going to crash a rocket full of fuel into, I don't know, Kerbal, Bergton, Haven, Hampton, whatever, and that will be our nuclear weapon on this rocket. What else? What else? What else? Did I miss anything else? I've got that. I've got Buku Gimbal Control Authority from the rocket gimbals. That should be okay. We'll have to see how our gravity turn goes. Anything else? Somebody said lights. Me, okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the dorsal side because we like that. Let me put some lights up here. Wait, I don't have two of those on there, do I? No, I don't. You there. Go on the dorsal side. Let us slap a light on here because somebody asked for one. Who was it that asked for something? Gav. Gav, dude, you're a regular. I will totally put lights on there for you. Actually, if you weren't a regular, I would still put lights on there for you. Anybody that asks a question, I will try to accommodate. Meh, not so great. That light on one side, the floodlight on the other side, and then we have a space-worthy fueler probe, automated fuel drone, called the Money Sucker. Ask retired Army if you need to know. So that looks like a good rocket to me. Let's go ahead and toss some of these launch clamp thingamabobbers on here. I'm going to put some like this. Times 3 should be bueno, but I can also put some up here. Shardies. Shardies? Sharidies? I don't know how you say that word right there. Hey, thanks for the follow and welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We do live sessions just like this on various and sundry topics in Kerbal Space Program just about every night. Follow me on Twitter if you want to have notification when we go live and what we're going to be doing. Let's see here. Dude, the Hag69, you're a legend, man. Love your live streams. That's freaking awesome. Thanks for saying that, man. That's just trying to help people go to space. Anything else for the Delta V readout? What is the difference between the first number and the second after the slash? Let's have a look. Right here. The first number, Gav, was that Gav? No, that was Override. Override, the first number there, that's the amount of Delta V in that stage. So you can see this is stage 4. You would look over here and see this is stage 4. You can actually see which parts are in stage 4. So in stage 4, the row header over here, there is 3,033 Delta V. Right there. That's how much there is in that, and this is the total amount to stage, I guess. The total amount so far. This is basically the amount in this stage plus all stages below it. Since stage 4 is the first stage here, that's basically the amount in stage 4. Easier to see if you look at stage 2. Wow, I need to fix this. Let me go ahead and clean this up right quick. Let me put this here. Hope I don't confuse anybody. Let me put that there. Let me put that there. Make sure I got it right. You are the kicker stage, yes. You are the orbital stage, or you are the payload stage, yes. All right, now we're better. Stage 2, now that I've cleaned it up, is the first stage. By the way, I just got a follow. Who was that with the follow there? That was Hag. Dude, Hag, welcome to the Academy, and thanks for the follow. Let's see here. That's stage 2. So stage 2 has 3,033 Delta V for a total of 3,033 Delta V. So that plus everything below it, which is nothing, equals 3,033. The kicker stage has 1,061 Delta V in it, and that plus all the stages below it gives a total of 4,095 Delta V. That's what the difference is between the first number, the amount in stage 1, it says right there, so stage 1 has 1,000, stage 2 has 3,000, That stage 1 has a total of 4,000. Stage 2 has a total of 3,000. That's what's going on there. And if I were to go ahead and unlimit, here we go. Unlimit that engine, see how it puts that other stage in there. Stage 0 has, wow, a lot of delta V in it, 4,504 delta V. So in stage 0, it has 4,504 delta V for a total of 8,599 delta V. What I did was I just thrust limited that engine so that it was not including that in our payload, just to keep it simpler. Let us see if the money sucker can get to space. I know at least one person who's probably going to hope that the money sucker goes down in a ball of flames. But let's see. That may be the case, and if it doesn't make an orbit, I will let it burn up for you. Why do the background lights in the VAB pulse? It may be my camera, Handman. It may totally be my camera or some problem with my camera. I need to get that fixed. Again, this is like a cheapo little webcam sort of thing with the green screen that's actually a Walmart sheet. So that may be what's going on. 57 freaking people here. Welcome everybody to Kerbal Space Academy. We're doing Money Sucker to Space, otherwise known as lifter design using Kerbal Engineer. Save! Let's launch this thing. Doss has been talking too much. That means he's not drinking enough Dr. Pepper. They're throbbing. Use the wrong fuses. It's the R&D department is having too much of a load draw, I guess. Let's see what we got. Let's try to launch this thing. Delta V total, not a number. I don't know. That looks very rockety, though. Rockety delicious. Panel lock. SAS engaged, which I already had. Engineers all set. Our staging is good. We are going to try to put this in an orbit. If not, we are going to crash it into the sea and hopefully a huge fireball. I don't have any power generation on that puppy. Me. That's okay. We'll open the docking port. What else? Let's see here. They keep using bits of metal. Tie your shoe. That's totally what it says in one of the in-vehicle things. We provide fuses. Stop using bits of metal. All right. I'm all throttled up. 1.69 on the pad. That looks good. Let's see if this goes to space. I'm not sure it's going to make it. I'm not sure it's going to make it without... we can definitely get it into an orbit. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that without using the payload's fuel. So... 3, 2, 1, space. Looks good. Remember, it's the standard launch profile again. The first checkpoint is 5,000 meters, going about 150, 160 meters per second. That will be our first checkpoint. Look at that. Oh, there's a rocket shadow. That's not good. That thing's overheating freaking fast. I may have to thrust limit that puppy if it keeps going up. That's a bug in the way it does the physics. Yeah, I got time. This engine is prone to overheat whenever you attach it to a red tank. Because of the way it tries to distribute the heat, it tries to use the center of mass for the part that it's attached to. The center of mass for the orange tank is way far away. Dude, Media Gnome, welcome to the Academy and thanks for the follow. Welcome. I already said welcome to the Academy, I think. We do this all the time. This tank is trying to dump its fuel, or sorry, its heat into this tank. But the way it calculates it, this is actually a pretty good ways away. So it thinks, oh wow, that center of mass is so far away, I can't really effectively get rid of the heat. That's why this tank is overheating here. You can fix it by putting a little bitty tank in between there, and even though the tank has a lot less mass, the center of mass of the tank is a lot closer to the heat source. Gravity turn time. There we go. Going a little bit fast. Let's try that gravity turn. And because that little small tank is closer to the engine, I can actually demonstrate that. It will not do that heat overheat like this. Don't fall. Again, remember our next checkpoint, we're going to go 45 degrees here until this number gets to about 50. So one thing we didn't do with this rocket, we did not tune it so that these engines leave at the same time. Dude, McLovin' it. Welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow. Let us see here. That center stage just ran out of fuel, and now we're just running on the outer stages. We could have tuned the thrust to weight on that center stage such that it ran out of fuel at the same time. That would have meant, wow, it's turn and burn time already. Jeez, I better go right for a 7,500 orbit here as well. That's 6. Dang it. Cut. Alright, we needed to do it that way. Oh no, we're going to start... Nope, those are definitely shenanigans. Yep, that was a problem. I have no SAS control authority, so this rocket's tumbling. Time to apoapse, 138. Keep spinning in that direction. We're going to see if we can't do a flip here. All the way around before we need to light the motors. This is a problem because I didn't have enough control authority, and I lifted my lifter stage all the way up there. We can make this rocket better. Dude, Ledjo, also welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow. That's freaking amazing. I'm going through my flip here. What I need to do is when I get close to apoaps, I need to stop myself pointing in the right direction. I can't waste. Remember how close our margin was, though? I can't waste that 246 delta V. Oh my gosh, and I think the only control authority we have is on this little pod. It's trying, its reaction wheels are like about to freaking overheat, I think. But I do not know. Maybe if I give it a bump, I can slow down some of my rotation. I'm trying to use those engine gimbals. Oh man, if we are not pointing the right way, eek! This rocket definitely needs a lot more control authority. Let me answer some questions why this thing totally freaking fails. Big things need RCS. Nah, we would be good if I didn't take my lifter to stage. I should be on my orbital kicker stage. I should not be on my main lifter stage now. That's our problem here. What else do I play? That one dude you know. Welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. What else do I play? Right now I focus on this. I've got some other games in the stable, but I am kind of focused on Kerbal Space Academy right now. Of course, it's going to be freaking straight up retrograde when I need to do the burn. Check it out. Time to apoaps. 0. That's lame. Let's see what we can do. Lights on. It'll give me more control. Dude, whatever you say. SAS. I have SAS turned on, but it's ineffective because there's no rotational control authority. The only control authority I have is right here in this little probe core, and it ain't much. It's a couple kilonewtons, I think, or whatever. We are going to continue rotating. That's interesting. And I'm going to light this engine. Maybe we can still get it to space. We still have that entire kicker stage, but we are falling back down. We have wasted some of our time here. I'm burning like that. Look at how that gives me. The gimbal on those engines gives me control authority again. Let's toss that stage. Let's see what we can do. We've just illustrated a bad problem, actually, that we will fix in the VAB. 13 with the higher. Okay, that's okay. That's increasing. Our time to apoaps is, or time to periaps is also increasing. Let's see if we can save it. We may have boned ourselves here because check it out. We're falling down. I'm pretty sure we boned ourselves. Remember what I said, this number plus this number equaling 2,300. It looks like we're good. We've got 1,000 and 1,500, but we're falling, and we have to counteract that fall. And now that I'm pointing like this, we're wasting delta V trying to counteract that fall. What does it say our periaps is? 340. I'm wasting delta V here. I do not know what's going to happen. We'll see. And then we'll show how we can fix it. Brain fried. No, there's not a way right now. Apparently, I'm not popular enough on Twitch to allow you to watch the stream in lower quality. What that means is that there's time to apoaps. Okay, now we're good. Now we can burn straight ahead. Oh, we're going to be so close. We're going to be so close. I have to be more popular with Twitch before they'll let me do real-time transcoding like that. So there is... Oh my gosh, did we make it? We totally made it to orbit. Look at that. That's a good enough orbit right there. No kidding. It was so close. So look at that, right? The number in the VAB was freaking 4,000. It was like 4,100 or something. That wasn't 4,500. We had all sorts of problems. We took the main stage, the main lifter stage into space with us. And then we tumbled out of control. We had no control authority. We couldn't even get pointed in the right way. We turned on the engines to use the gimbal, the basically thrust vectoring. We turned on the engines to use the gimbals to try and straighten us out. We tossed that off. We had to do all of that 45-degree burning. And even with all of that, we still made a stable orbit without touching the fuel in the other tank. I'm better than I thought. Jeez, Danish. Dude, we're up to 64 people. That's so freaking cool. Let's see here. I would just go ahead and circularize this thing. There's our Apo. Where are we? Money sucker. There's the money sucker. I'm sorry, retired army. I didn't crash the money sucker. I can totally point it straight down and crash into the ground if that's what you want me to do. There's the periaps. Let's click on it. Click on the periaps. Click. Seriously. Oh, we caught it that time at least. You there. Put my note on my Apo. Bueno. Let's go ahead and pull that out. That's just precise node there. I'm just using it to get the node directly. Oh yeah, that's the problem with that. I guess that's 50, 60, 75, and we're actually at 80. So not only do we have enough delta V to get there, that's 80 right there. Not only do we have enough delta V to get into orbit, we're going to have enough delta V to... I cannot see what those numbers is. That is so freaking annoying. Oh, 75 actually. 85, sorry. Periaps. Now it's stuck. Let's make it 85 over there. See if we have enough delta V. I'll show you another trick here. We can actually calculate that. There's 83,952, 84,063. Put it right on the apple, buddy. 84, 84, 84,599. Close enough. 84. That would take a 33.6 meter per second burn. We've got 104 meter per second in the kicker stage. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We totally got this thing into orbit. Now check out this problem. I have no control authority up here in space. We didn't put any SAS. We didn't put any reaction wheels on this craft at all. It's trying to torque itself around using these little baby reaction wheels in here. What other problems do we have? Oh, we also have no power generation. We definitely have no power generation here, so we may not even be able to get this thing suborbital. But, long story short, in our kicker stage, which is this right here, we have 104 meters per second. To circularize at 84, we would only need 33 of those meters per second. The design of this thing's a little bit off because we weren't worried about this. But what we are going to do in honor of Retired Army, because we have named this thing the Money Sucker, you can ask him what that is a reference to. I'm going to go ahead and just deorbit this thing. Let us find some nice land to crash it into. And lights off. Okay, lights are off. Whew, gotta save that electric charge. Let us point this thing suborbital and get it the heck back down to the planet. We will dispose of it properly. We do not want it to be space. Look how much quickly. Just because of the gimbling on this engine, when I turn that engine on, not only am I generating more electric charge because it's got an alternator, that engine is able to use the thrust vectoring to point me straight down. But we are going to freaking get rid of the Money Sucker here. Ain't nobody got time for money suckers. There's that. Now we're going to go... unthrust limit our engine. Thrust limiter up. Wow, okay, we blow that piece off. Goodbye, that piece. Looks like a scene out of a Superman movie. Let's just point this thing straight down at the ground and see what happens. We're going to burn all of our 45... Wow, look at that. That thing had almost 6,000 delta V. That's freaking ridiculous. I've got RCS. I don't have any RCS. Totally no RCS. Hey, DK, dude, welcome. Yeah, we're doing a Kerbal Space Academy stream here tonight. I was going through the schedule, and I realized that as much as I talk about the lifter design and actually getting big things into orbit, I've never actually done a session specifically on lifter design. So I figured I'd get started here. We've got a lot of regulars in the channel. We've got a lot of new people, it looks like. We've got a lot of new follows. And I am doing the Space Academy session on... Oh, I do! I do have the Werner thrusters. We could have had that turned on the entire time. But that would have been using the... I would have had to disable those things. Wow, look at that deorbit. Jeez. We didn't want to use... The Werner thrusters would have been cheating because I didn't want to use the payload in any way, shape, or form. How's that for deorbiting? Let's just burn straight prograde right now and see how far we can hit... How fast we can hit the surface. We've got a little bit of a sonic boom there coming down to the surface. We still have plenty of fuel left. I wish I was hitting the land. Let's see how fast we can... Even that, I can't hit it very fast. We're just like past the terminal velocity for this craft, I guess. What's our orbit? Man, no matter what, even with that engine pushing with a 6.0, we're just not we're not getting it done. You'll probably go to Duna this way. Dude, yeah, anyways, DK, thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for dropping by. Dude! I totally missed the crash. Wasn't watching. Algae also welcome. What's going on, man? So we crashed that thing. There went the Money Sucker. Let us go back to the vehicle assembly. Let's fix some of the problems, right? So what problems do we have? Step one, we had no control authority. We needed some rotational control authority. We know how to do that on our rockets. In fact, ICBM. That's exactly what was just happening. We totally went ICBM mode on that sucker. Let us take those guys off. Since I'm making a fueler drone, I'm going to like toss a little angle in the fueler drone here. Oh, that may be a good point. Das. That may be a good point. while we want some control authority on the fueler drone, right? A little bit of this action, like this, times 2. That's good. Let us actually, yeah, we'll go with 4 of them. We'll put 2 up there. We'll put 2 down here. This is just something that I do sometimes on my fueler drone. I know it's not the most efficient way to do it, but I think it looks cool. It's my rocket. So that's what I'm going to do. Totally, it looks like a space car now. You know, this can go back. 4x symmetry around the middle. That's good. That also gives us a place to mount these things. I'm totally slapping this together. I do entire sessions on designing things like that. That gives our backward control authority with the RCS. This will give us our frontwards control authority with the RCS. Bueno. So, and that's actually not enough, really. You really need 2 of these like this. Can you hear me when I whisper? Take that off. Take this. Put it there. Good enough. Where's my center of mass? Where is my center of mass? Wow, it's way low. Okay, well, I need to put... Oh, that's what happened. We put those there. We put those there. Not the best way to do it. We grab this. I'm just making this a little better, and then all of a sudden I'm going to disable these reaction wheels. Why? You idiot. Why are you... We don't want the reaction to be in the... We don't want the control authority to be in here. We want it to be in the kicker stage. So that right there, plus some power generation like this, tossing it together, we're actually going to make this a useful launch. There's that, plus some power generation that looks like that. I like it. We've got that battery. We could really use some more battery. We could do that like this. Más bateros. I don't even know if that's Spanish for battery. Anybody Spanish for battery? Last name's Valdez, but totally don't speak very much Spanish. That looks good. That looks good. 4086. All right. RCS build date. RIP forever. I am trying to focus on the lifter. I could come in here. I do entire sessions on balancing crafts with RCS build aid. For this, I'm going to focus on cleaning up the lifter. If I have some time, I've got 30 more minutes. Pilas. Pilas. Now I forget. Pilas? Batteries? I drink Red Bull. And I deliver coffee. Contraption. All right, let's see here. Now we've got some batteries on there. We've got this. What are our 2 problems with our lifters, right? Very little rotational control authority. By the way, let's turn those off. We'll do it this way. Action groups. Custom 1. You there. Actually, I'm going to do custom 2. You there. Engineer go away. Deactivate. This. Deactivate. Excellent in custom 1 will be this. Activate. This. Activate. If you want more information on what I'm doing there with the control groups, watch for the sessions on space station construction or lander construction or spaceplane construction. When I do Kerbal Space Academy on those topics, that's when we get into that. So, that's good. Back to the parts. 2 problems. 1, no control authority, rotational control authority in our kicker stage. That was a problem. It meant that we couldn't point the correct way. Yeah, Orchium, it would. That's just something that I do. I kind of have like a shutdown button that completely turns off the fueler probe, and then another button that completely activates it. Dude, McLovin it, I'm glad you found me too. Not like that, but I hope you learned something. I hope you followed us for future Kerbal Space Academies. We had no control authority in the kicker stage, and our lifter stage went way too far into orbit. We want this lifter stage to be done a lot sooner. We want it to drop sooner. So, what can we do? We can decrease... Remember what I did before, right? I moved some of the thrust around. Or sorry, I moved some of the fuel around. We're going to put more fuel in our kicker stage so that the bottom stage runs out sooner, but the top stage activates sooner. That will be one thing we do. And another thing we do will be put some control authority up there. So step 1, let's rebalance this rocket. Let's get more delta V in the kicker stage while maintaining our good thrust to weight, less delta V in the lifter stage while maintaining its thrust to weight. Let's move some fuel around. We've got all this. So could I just take this and put it up here? Where's the kicker stage? There's the kicker stage. Get rid of these launch clamps. They're in my way. Could I just do that? I mean, move some fuel around for sure. And then I could put some fuel lines in there. And all I did was take those tanks off the bottom and put them in the top here. And let's see how that does us. Do we get that all there? Now I've got 1679 in the kicker stage, 25. So our total is 4182. Notice how the thrust to weight on the bottom didn't change, right? Because all we did was move fuel tanks from one part of the rocket to a different part of the rocket. That didn't change. The problem is that this thrust to weight here is terrible. That is not enough thrust to weight on the kicker stage. We do not like that. Let's do this. Put that like that. Those struts are going to be boned, so we'll have to fix those. So what can I do on the kicker stage here, right? What can I do on the kicker stage to give it more thrust? I can totally do something like this. What could I slap? Could I slap 4 poodles? Dude, Matrix Iran. That's like adding some things together. It's not Samus, but it's also not a Neo reference. Matrix Iran, welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow. Let's put some more engines on this guy, on the kicker stage. I was going to use something like that. Maybe we can do something smaller. Let's check the poodles out. 2 on the mass. Not in love with that. 0.41. I don't know why this is going to light up there. Poodles, you so silly. Why would you be on that stage? You need to be on that stage. Apparently, it got all sorts of confused. Now I've got 1.41 and 1.68. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Is there something better that we could do? Something better we could do. Maybe. I kind of like that. See how the kicker matches up with that? I kind of like that. There's that same delta V, but we're carrying extraneous engines. Are there smaller engines we could do? That weighs 1.5. Let's try this. Let's try to put that on there. 1.42. 93 in the delta V. Did it go to the wrong place again? Yes, it did. Let's drag it up to the correct stage. So 1.39, but more delta V. Let's see. That's not terrible. I think we may go with that. I think we may go with 1.39. Oh, but it's gonna launch sooner. I really need that to be 1.5. I really need that number to be 1.5. Let's try. Can't put 2 of those. What's an aerospike put out? Nope, that's less. 175. These would put out more. Let's see where this gets us. We're just guess testing and revising. 143. This is also 6 of these tanks. So we could put 6 of some sort of engine. I don't like that. I'm not in love with that at all, actually. Let's see here. R-Wing, welcome to the Academy, and thanks for the follow. We are trying to tune this rocket such that the kicker has 1.5 thrust to weight, while we maintain about that much delta V. Let's do the control authority, too. I'm going to take these guys, put them down a little bit. I'm going to get me some control authority that looks like these. That looks bueno. Oops, I think I had a strut or something in there. Let's clean that out. There we go. Look at that. Now we got 3 of those guys in there. I like that. And then we can do cool things like slap these buddies on here. That looks awesome. Let's, we may need to use some bigger engines. Skippers are probably going to be too big. I bet you. Did it put it in the wrong stage? I'll fix it. I'll check the staging right before I go to the end. Skippers are going to be too big and too heavy, I think. Also, they do not want to go. Come on now, girly. I said, come on, girly. Let's see here. There we go. Matrix. Air cows. R-Wing. All right, I just got caught up. I think that was air cows there. Air cows, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Academy. We do these all the time. Follow me on Twitter if you want to be notified in advance of what I'll be streaming about on any given Sunday, any given day of the week. Man, it's boning that staging, isn't it? It does not like our staging. 1.94. Ooh, that actually doesn't look too terrible. 1.94 thrust to weight, 1.67 on the pad, 4056. You know, that may be a winner right there, y'all. That may be a winner. I like that. I could, Gav, I did think of that. I think I'm just going to go with the skipper here because we are so freaking close. Look at that. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get this around 1.6. We wanted to get this number around 2,500. We wanted this to be about 4,000. I think this may be a winner, y'all. I think this may be a winner. Let's toss this guy off. Gav actually had a great point there, and I want to point it out. He was saying, say we were in career mode and you hadn't researched the skippers yet. What you could have done, you know that these engines put out what? I think they're like 215 or something, right? Where are you at now? 215. And a skipper puts out 650, so about 3 of these engines is about a skipper. You could have come over here and say you had one of these adapter parts researched, like the tri-adapter, yep, like that. You could have put that and 3 of these puppies on, and you should have gotten about the same results as the skipper. Let's see. I think I'm just going to have to build one and then symmetry it. Yes. We could have done that, and if it had staged them correctly, got about the same results. Those engines aren't as efficient as the skipper, it looks like. So we got pretty close, but not exactly the same results there. Is that right? 3, 3. Oh, we got one more set that we didn't move up. These guys here. So what he was saying is you could have made a little engine pod using this 3X adapter and those engines. And look at that. We got pretty dang close to the same result. If you hadn't researched the skipper yet for whatever reason, you could have got the same result with a cluster that looks like that. So Gav, dude, thanks for putting that over there. I definitely appreciate I always appreciate people putting comments like that in the channel. You were absolutely correct. You could have solved it that same way. We will go with a skipper for the sake of part count here. Go back to 1x symmetry, put it on 1, come over here and put it on 3x symmetry. There we go. That looks good. Let's put some of this action here from the nose cone of the rocket up to the payload. That looks good. Anything else? We could totally put decouplers on those and just blow them into space. It may break something, though. Let's put some Strutty McStrutterson. Trax, you making fun of me? You know what I was saying when I said y'all. You understood the words that were coming out of my mouth. And I was still able to effectively communicate with you using that sort of language. So all in all, I find the communication session to be a success. The communication exchange between me and you to be successful. That looks good. Let's see how this goes to space. Let's do this number. We can put it right there, I think. Not hitting any of our struts or anything. Excellent. Could we have tuned it? I mean, maybe we could have put these closer down or something. You know. This rocket looks good. Again, if anybody just joined us, what we were looking for, 1.7 on the pad, 1.67 is pretty darn close. A total of 4,000 delta V, 4056 is good, and we wanted this thrust weight to be bigger. We also wanted to increase We also wanted to increase the rotational control authority on the kicker stage. The kicker stage is this guy right here. This is what the kicker stage is going to look like, just this piece. We wanted to increase his authority by putting these SAS modules on there, such that he can aim the rocket in the way it needs to be aimed. Let's do a couple more things. Y'all know DOS likes his little tiny thingy-mabobbers here. Back to 1x symmetry, please. Come on now. There we go, 1x symmetry. You know what I'm doing. If you've been in the channel before, I'm doing my little clipped probe core. This is kind of my signature way. Ah, come on now. That looks good. We're also going to put a battery on it so we know the dorsal side, and then we are going to launch this sucker like that. Could I do power generation? I could totally do power generation. Let's do power generation as well. That way the kicker stage can deorbit itself. So, Redneck who flies rockets. Yes, that's what I should have made my name. It should have been Redneck Rocketeer. But I'm not that much of a redneck. This is going to be the Money Sucker Mark II, and we are going to make this channel a little bit more exciting by launching it. Check our staging. Last thing. We've got that plus the main core engine. Excellent. We've got all those clamps there. Excellent. We are going to decouple that stage right there. Yes. We are going to light all of our skippers. Notice I'm highlighting over the thing down there, and it highlights actually in the VAB which part it is. Vice versa as well. There's our main engine. Yes. Then we're going to kick that off, and we're going to have the main stage ready to go. Yes. That guy's going to be disabled. We'll take care of that on launch pad by pressing 2. I think we're good to go. Am I missing anything else? I think I'm a Redneck Rocketeer. Ah, yes. Maybe we could have some Redneck Rocketeering sessions. Redneck Rocketeer Challenge. We should totally get that. Oh, have you seen that discount rocket parts mod where it's like lawn chairs and like tin cans, and there's like a little Weber looking grill that you can fly to space. I should totally do some redneck rocketeer sessions with those parts. That would be awesome. Save it. Launch it. Oh my gosh, there's the Dr. Pepper over there. It got away from me. Why you do these, Dr. Pepper? And let us see what happens here. Going out to the launch pad. Let me read. See if I missed anything with chat. Dude, Brainfry, I like the giant vacuum cleaner. Thanks, dude. That thing was a challenge to fly. We just spin stabilize it. Another great KSP streamer, Matrix Iran. Thank you for that. Das McLovin, it took off. I think I got that. Yes, I agreed with you guys on the toggle. Bob can accidentally. I don't think it'll come up again. I think I already got you once. Das Starbucks. Also not bad. Got the BHG reference there. I was gonna do with go with Academy Actual, so I would be in charge of the Academy. That actually looks pretty cool. I like that rocket. Let's see if it goes to space. Panel lock. Throttle up. SAS engage. Engineers already set the way we need it. Let's see if we've solved our problems. Talk all redneck the whole. I don't know if I could though. It would be an act. Just because I grew up in Texas. Oh yes, 2. I'm gonna press 2. Hopefully that disable those. Disabled. Excellent. Disabled. I also wish in the action groups you could like have it do a screen print or something, so it would say reaction wheels disabled, and you would know that you actually were able to activate that group. Let's see if this goes to space. It's throttled up. We're good to go. 1666 on the launch pad. Let us see this thing go. 3, 2, 1, space. We don't have to make a big deal of it. We just press the space bar and then yeah! Then we go to space. So again, our first checkpoint is going to be at... Oh, I didn't fix that problem. Oopsie. It's also going to be a problem if that thing has a lot of fuel left. No, it looks like it's using it faster. I think we're good. We didn't fix that problem. We could fix it if we launch this puppy again. First checkpoint, 5,000 feet, 150, 160 meters per second. Let's see how good we are there on that. Yeah, no, I'd love to send that to the devs. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper right now, though. I think that's a good idea if you could type some text in or something and it would screen print it just so that it said that you were actually got that action group to fire. 5,000 feet. 160, perfect. That's exactly where we wanted to be. Next checkpoint is going to be 10,000 feet, and we're going to be wanting to go about 100 and... Or sorry. Thank you, Orchium. Yes. 5,000 meters and 150 meters per second, not feet. I had the Dr. Pepper in my hand. I was channeling United States. Next one, 10,000 meters. 270, that's about where we were. Let's go ahead and turn this puppy. We do our gravity turn into 10,000. Let us see what happens there. Good catch, though, Orgium. Slightly embarrassing. I say that. I probably messed that up a lot. I need to be better at this. We're going to turn 45 degrees, pointing right here at 90 on the nav ball. Check it out. That's 45 degrees from the horizon. This is 0. This is 90. That's 45. That's what that means. We're going to keep on flying until this number right here says 50,000. This looks good. Remember, we didn't want this big main lifter stage to get into space with us, and it looks like we've accomplished that. We want that to get to 50,000, and we want that stage perfect to die off, and we want to light this stage. Now we make that say 50. That was just about perfect, y'all. That stage is going to fall. This, we need to turn and burn now. I want to go towards my orbit, and again, I'm just burning straight on my orbit here until this number gets to about 70. I can actually burn a little bit lower than my orbit. And we'll put this puppy at 75, I think. Yeah, 75 sounds good. Look how controllable it is right now. I didn't have that flippy problem I had before. There's 75. That's what I like to see. I didn't have the flippy problem. I ditched the orbital stage back there, or sorry, the lifter stage back there. That's good. That's definitely a good thing. We have lots of control authority. Look how I can turn the rocket around using these things, so that's good. Let us go plan this node. To plan our node, we just come over here, we click on the Apo Apps. If you're using my recommended mods, you can actually click on Precise Node there and put that node directly on the Apo Apps. Then I'm going to click here. I'm just going to give it Delta V in the prograde direction until we get a Periapps. There's a periapse. Then I just keep on pulling it until I get the flip. So there's the flip when that periapse moved really quickly from the back side to the front side of the orbit. That's 75. That's 75. That looks good. Let's go do the burn. Burn is going to be 55 seconds. Remember, we split our orbit in half, or we split our burn in half. I need to take half of 55. Half of 55 is 25 plus half of 6, which is 3. 28 seconds. I will start this burn at T-minus 28 seconds. If you've been around enough and you're here for docking and rendezvous or orbital maneuvers, I definitely explained in those other sessions exactly why we want to split that burn in half, but it is pretty important. There's 28, 27. I think I wanted to burn at 28. Sometimes I forget exactly what I said right after I calculated it. I'm just going to go ahead and do this burn. Again, what can we do? We can do this number plus this number. Is it 23? Yes, I'm looking real fast, but it looked like it's about 26. Okay, those guys died out. What the? Why did those die? Oh, do I seriously have that backwards? Wow. Even with the fuel lines being in the incorrect direction, we were still good to go. That's going to screw with my burn time. Oh well. We'll still get to space. Not the cleanest burn because we needed a bidirectional fuel lines on these two things. And I did not have them set up correctly. But we will still get to space here. Again, this number plus this number. Are you going to get to space? Right now we're at 18 plus 700. That's going to be 2600 or something like that. We should be good to go. Also, I can look at this. Is this number bigger than this number? We plan that node to go circular because this is 600 something. That's 250 right now. We know we're going to have 350 extra delta V at the end of this burn that we can play with. We can deorbit our kicker stage. There is that. And that's an orbit because the camera changed. That's a circular orbit because we finished our burn. 6387, that's because that rocket wasn't exactly quite right. We should have had bidirectional fuel lines. Where are we at? We're coming up on that. How can I fix it? That's a little bit dirty. The next thing's our periapse in 6 seconds. I'm going to be a little bit dirty here and burn north. That's going to move my periapse towards me. Basically slow my rate of descent. Although it is going to waste a little bit of rocket fuel, it should also lower the apoapse. Let's see if it works. See if old DOS knows what he's talking about here. I'm burning straight up. Totally inefficient orbital maneuver. I don't care. So, there is straight up. Dude, Ja2369, welcome to Kerbal Space Academy. We do streams like this just about every night. Follow me on Twitter if you want to know what topic we're going to be doing tomorrow. Let's see if we can fix this. I'm going to burn straight up. Check that out. That's going down. That's what I wanted. That's going up. That's what I wanted. Wasting some delta V here. That's 80. Oh, we're just about at periapse right there. That's fine. That there is just fine. 81. We've still got 300 meters per second of delta V here. We know that we'll be able to get this orbit perfectly circular. We'll just go around to the apoapse and circularize it. We've got our payload, which weighed 100 tons, into orbit using no fuel from the payload itself. So this guy right here, right? Wait, F5. Engineer, talk to me, Goose. Let's go ahead and decouple this. I F5'd it, I think. Did I F5 it? Yeah. Let's go ahead and decouple that puppy. That's our kicker stage. This guy here, let's unthrottle that engine. Thrust limiter up. 6,000 meters per second of delta V in this. In fact, if you wanted to make this a fuel delivery probe, turn that off. 348, not as impressive actually. 348 meters per second, but we're actually in a nice stable orbit already, and we could deliver the fuel. Let me go ahead and do that, and let me get away from that kicker stage there. Apparently that doesn't have a collision mesh. We could perform a rendezvous using a Hohmann transfer with this fuel delivery probe. And let me reactivate those. Yes, excellent. I pressed 1 on the keypad. Look at this. This fueler drone right here could take this full tank to a space station or another ship that needs to be refueled, refitted, whatever, in orbit because we've properly designed our lifter to get it there. The last thing that I can talk about here, remember I designed that lifter stage here so that it fell back to Kerbal. That was good. We were just out of our gravity turn when that lifter got decoupled. That means that lifter would have fallen pretty close to the Space Center. What that means is if you're using deb recovery, you would get most of the money from that lifter back. Deb recovery, put enough chutes on there, use a real chute or something like that. I have videos and I have entire sessions where I talk about that sort of stuff. But we would have been able to get most of the money from that lifter back using deb recovery and real shoots. That's freaking awesome because it fell right there in the ocean. This, check out our kicker stage. Our kicker stage is still fully operational. We've got fuel. We should have a lot of Delta V, actually. We've got power generation. We've got control authority because I've got all this stuff on here. I could now deorbit this kicker stage, and I could deorbit it somewhere near the KSC. That means that if I put shoots on here, I could also recover a lot of the money from this if I was using deb recovery. That's freaking awesome. If you're in a career mode and you're trying to save money on these launches, I didn't see exactly what that launch was going to cost us, but we would have been able to recover the majority of the lifter and the kicker stages just because we designed it well using Kerbal Engineer. Let me go ahead and deorbit this guy. We already know the payload's there. He's in a nice stable orbit. We all know, look at this thing. This thing flies like a freaking dream. We can point it right here. Everybody knows how to deorbit. You point retrograde. You light the candle. That's going to suck your orbit in. That's going to make me not click in the right window. That's going to suck that orbit in. Now I have a deorbit, and I'm going to be landing somewhere near there. Good enough. Put shoots on that puppy, enough shoots that it can land at under 6 meters per second. Deb recovery will bring this back from you. If you install deb recovery, you'll get all the money for the stage back. You're good to go. You didn't leave space junk. You got the money back. You put your payload in orbit, and you didn't use any of the fuel from the orbit. That's exactly what we were trying to do. So, last thing. Wow, oh no. Apparently it thinks that's the probe. That's okay. Where's the money sucker 2? Yeah, there we go. Nope, nope, nope. I want to switch to it, please. Seriously, there we go. Switch to. Not going to be able to revert now, but that's okay. And, hey, there's the Twitter link that Nightbot just put in there. Thank you, Nightbot. Here's our payload. Got an entire white full fuel tank there to deliver to a station or something like that. It's got control authority. It's got RCS. It's got the little thingamabobber on the front that opens up and gives you a docking port. It's got lighting, I think, right? Yeah, there's some lights. So not only did we design a good lifter that didn't leave space junk, let us recover most of our stuff, we also put this useful payload into orbit, basically a full fuel tank that we can use to refuel the station or something like that. So, that was Kerbal Space Academy for lifter design using Kerbal Engineer. What I'm going to do now is get caught up on the chat. If you had any questions about something I talked about during this session, type it over in the chat. I will answer the questions for you. If there's something you want me to revisit, if there's something you want me to play with, I've got another 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, call it, on the Academy stream. If there's anything that you wanted to ask me, feel free to ask me over in the chat. Again, the entire point of this is not for me to show how good I am at putting things into orbit. Oh, I'm not too bad at it. The purpose is for you to be able to ask me questions so that I can answer questions so you can do the same sort of stuff yourself. So, I'm going to get caught up on the chat. I'm going to drink some Dr. Pepper. We're going to let this thing go around in circles and see if there's anything that I need to answer for you. If you were just here for that and you don't have any questions, next up I'm going to be doing a little bit of free play. I'm actually going to take a break, eat some dinner. We'll play some freaking chiptune, some 8-bit sort of music. We're going to be finishing construction on these. Yes, I am, Zog. I'm answering that question right now. We're going to be finishing the construction on the Orbital Hilton. Those of you who were here for the Kerbal Space Academy Advanced Space Station construction session, you would have seen the beginning of that Orbital Hilton we were putting together. If you wanted to see it, sounds interesting, we've basically got a big complex space station we're assembling in orbit. We've got a robotic assembly probe up there, and I'm going to be switching over to that save and doing that assembly right after this. So, let me get caught up on the chat, see if I have any questions to catch with. If you're taking off now, thank you for joining Kerbal Space Academy. Thank you for watching this session. I totally appreciate everybody's comments in the chat and that sort of stuff. I do have one more thing that I want to do. The other day I was playing around with some stuff in my stream, and I set up one of those donation thingies, right? I was just trying to get it work. I didn't think anybody would find it. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. And then I went to configure it some more this afternoon to try and get it working. And what happened was that apparently people had given me donations. There were 2 people that sent donations out, and I didn't have the screen props working. I wasn't able to give them the proper recognition for sending me the donations they did. So I told myself, geez, I still don't have the screen pops working. I got to technically get that working. But I did get a $5 donation from Taxaws, which is totally freaking awesome, and I appreciate it. And then Earthworm Slim, who's another streamer here who shows up a lot of the times, he did a donation as well. I was kind of embarrassed by it because I was trying to play around with things and that sort of stuff, and I put the link down there. I didn't think anybody would see it. But Taxaws and Earthworm Slim are both totally freaking awesome. I'm going to be singing their praises throughout the next couple strings because I felt like I dropped the ball. I still don't have the notification thing set up on the screen, but I did have that down there, and I did want to thank Taxaws and Earthworm Slim. Anyways, the Kerbal Space Academy sessions are always totally free. It's never going to expect anybody to attend the class and pay a fee or anything like that. That's ridiculous. That's not why we're doing this. But I did have to give a shout out to those 2 people who gave me those donations when I wasn't really ready to give them the props for doing it, and it made me douche nozzle or whatever word I can use here in Kerbal Space Academy. Anyways, let me get caught up with the chat now. Again, Earthworm Slim and Taxox. I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you so much for that. Let me get caught up with the chat and see what we got here. There goes another follower notification, man. Jeez, oh Pete. Streaming after this. Yes, Zogs, I am streaming after this. Great success. There was Wolflord 3033 and Excarius, and Wolflord. Also, both welcome to the Academy. We do these Academy streams. We explain what's going on. That is exactly what Kerbal Space Academy is. And again, if anybody has questions, the point of Kerbal Space Academy is that I'm here talking live. This isn't recorded. This isn't scripted, anything like that. You can ask me questions. So if you got questions, type them over in the chat. Let's see here. Submitted, denied. Oh, yeah, you got it there. Yeah. Kerbal. Wow. Zombie Hunter also, welcome to the Academy. Thanks for the follow. Jeez. Thing just keeps going off. Let's see here. Free play is next. Yeah, I do. I usually do my free play after the Academy. That is what's going on. Thanks, Corn Chips. Thanks, okay, like Laser. Yeah, I think you're talking about... there's Tony Man also. Tony Man? Did I catch you? Thanks, everybody, for the follows. There was Tony Man. There was Cold Heat. When did Tony Man... I don't even know what's going on there. Jeez. Okay. Let's see here. Looking forward to see the Ober to Hilton. I think y'all got the debris refund. What debris refund does, it basically catches things that go out of physics range. So Kerbal Space Program has a couple rules. Basically, it cleans up junk, or it cleans up ships that get more than 2.5, I think it's 2.3 or 2.5 kilometers away from the currently active ship if they're in atmosphere. So if a ship or piece of debris is under 23,000 meters and gets to be greater than 2.5 kilometers away from the currently active ship, Kerbal Space Program out of the box will actually clean it up. It'll say, oh, that ship, that's totally toast, it's going to die, right? And it'll just delete it from the game. Deb Recovery steps in and it inserts kind of like a little override or something there, and instead of throwing that ship away, Deb Recovery grabs the ship and it says, hey, this ship is totally going to re-enter, it's totally going to land. How many parachutes does it have? Does it have enough parachutes on it to make it land at a safe velocity, basically? And if it calculates that the parachutes you have on that ship or part or lifter or kicker stage or whatever are enough to land it at under 6 meters per second, you get a large percentage of the cost of that ship back. Here I'm in sandbox mode. So Deb Recovery doesn't function. In Sandbox, you have unlimited funds. You're not worried about money. You're not worried about anything like that. So Deb Recovery doesn't function here because you basically don't care if you get money back from the vessels. However, if you're in a career mode where you actually cost money to launch these rockets, Deb Recovery will step in and it'll say, wow, yeah, this lifter you just got rid of, it has enough chutes on it to land at a safe velocity, and therefore I'm going to give you the money back. And Deb Recovery actually deposits, I guess is the right word, deposits the money into your account there so that you get that money back. So I do entire sessions on that. I think I've got some videos on YouTube that cover that concept, what Deb Recovery does, how to use it, what Real Shoots does, how to use Real Shoots to get those pieces back. And I definitely, I don't play the career mode without it. I really hope that it's included in the stock game, especially in career mode, because recovering those landed pieces is a very big thing. Let us see what else we got. Free classes. Dude, Orchium, always going to be free, man. Always going to be free classes. High quality, low price. I appreciate that. Although I don't know what the kappa there is. Are you being sarcastic about my high quality? Slim, Corn Chips. Corn Chips says Slim should have used that money on truck backing lessons. Earthworm Slim there was doing some Euro Trucker Simulator. And he was having a lot of trouble backing up last night. But that's what made the stream a lot of fun to watch, because he came up with a very interesting way of backing things up, if you ask me. But no, anyways, Earthworm Slim was a good guy. I wish he was here, because then you could click on his name and follow him. Easy now, he's taken. I don't think if you knew who Brain Fried was, you wouldn't be worried about him trying to hit on me, since we're related and all. Don't make Chaco come get you. They're talking about you, honey, in chat over here. But they're talking about Mark, so yeah, shake your pickle on him. Explain dev refund. Ja, I hope I got that good explanation of dev refund and how that works. What did I just miss? Wolford. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally said Wolford instead of Wolflord. Man, that's really hard to see, honestly. Wolford. Wolford, welcome to the Academy. Thanks for correcting me. Sam Hart, the mission was a Kerbal Space Academy on, what were we doing? Lifter design using Kerbal Engineer. So we talked about how you can design a lifter to get various size payloads into a good orbit using Kerbal Engineer. Kerbal Engineer is the thing on the screen right here, right now, right here. Yeah, that's it. That's Kerbal Engineer. I love Kerbal Engineer. I don't build rockets without it. It's so freaking useful. And basically in 2 launches, one kind of test launch where we got into orbit, but the rocket wasn't very controllable, didn't really treat us very well. And then a second, we were able to go back in the VAB, fix those problems. Looking at Kerbal Engineer, we were able to get a payload into space. That's totally what we were doing. That was the mission for today. This will be here if you want to scroll back, I guess, and I guess rewind, really, and turn off the live stream and watch this stream. What I was talking about earlier, we've been going for about 2 hours. Miller Time, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Academy. There goes that, Miller Time. And I got cold. Did I get cold heat?